My dad skipped my important event for my brother's football game, only to realize it was my wedding. Part 1. The day I stopped expecting him. I always knew my father loved my brother more. I just didn't realize how far that love would go until the day he chose a high school football game over my wedding. But let me start from the beginning, because betrayal like this doesn't happen overnight. It's built slowly, brick by brick, excuse by excuse, until one final moment breaks everything. My name is Emily Carter, and I was never my father's favorite. That honor belonged to Jason, my younger brother, my dad's golden boy, his legacy. From the moment Jason was born, my father acted like the universe had finally aligned just for him. Football trophies lined our living room shelves. Newspaper clippings with Jason's name circled in red were framed like holy relics. And me. I was the background noise, the independent one, the daughter who didn't need help. At least, that's what Dad always said. When I was 10, I won first place in the regional science fair. Dad promised he'd come. I waited on that stage, clutching my certificate, scanning the audience. He never showed. Later, he told me, "Jason had practice, you understand, right?" When I graduated high school as valedictorian, Dad arrived late, after Jason's away game ended. "You already finished speaking anyway," he said, like it was nothing. I learned early not to expect him. Still, some stupid, hopeful part of me believed my wedding would be different. The engagement. I met Daniel when I was 26. He was calm, steady, everything my chaotic family was. When he proposed, I cried, not just because I loved him, but because I finally felt chosen. When I told my parents, my mom hugged me. My dad smiled politely. Then he asked, "When?" Jason's season schedule. That should have been my warning. The wedding date. We planned a small but beautiful wedding in Vermont during peak autumn. Gold leaves, wooden chapel, warm light pouring through stained glass windows. When I told my family the date, my dad frowned. "That's mid-season," he said. I laughed nervously. "Dad, it's one Saturday. Jason has games every week." He shrugged. "You know how important this is for him." I waited for him to say your wedding is important too. He didn't. Later that night, I got a text. "Dad, I might not be able to make it to your event. Jason has a championship-deciding game." My event. I stared at my phone for a long time before replying. Me. It's my wedding, Dad. 3 dots appeared, then disappeared. Finally. Dad. We'll talk later. We never really did. The morning of my wedding. The morning air smelled like pine and rain. My bridesmaids buzzed around the cabin, fixing my hair, zipping my dress. Everyone kept asking the same question. "Is your dad here yet?" I smiled tightly. "He'll be here." I believed that lie until noon. Then 1 o'clock. Then the ceremony start time. My phone buzzed. Dad calling. I answered with shaking hands. "Dad." His voice was distracted, loud. I could hear a crowd. "Hey, Em, listen, I just wanted to say good luck today." My heart stopped. "You're not coming," I whispered. There was a pause. Then he said the words that burned into my memory forever. "Jason needs me. Scouts are here. This game could change his life." I felt something inside me crack. "So could walking your daughter down the aisle," I said. He sighed. "You're strong, you'll understand someday." And just like that, he hung up. Walking alone. The chapel doors opened. Everyone stood. And I walked down the aisle alone. Not because my father had died, but because he chose not to be there. I smiled through the ceremony. I said my vows. I kissed my husband. But something inside me hardened that day. While guests toasted us, my phone buzzed again. A photo from my dad. Jason on the field, Dad's arm around his shoulders. Caption: "Proud dad moment." I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I didn't respond. I simply made a decision. That would be the last time my father ever made me feel small. Because while he was cheering in a stadium, he had no idea what he had just lost. And he definitely didn't know what was coming next. After my wedding, I didn't cut my father off. Not immediately. I didn't block his number. I didn't scream at him. I didn't post passive-aggressive quotes online. I did something far more powerful. I went quiet. No calls. No updates. No photos. No effort. For the first time in my life, I stopped chasing his approval. And it didn't take long for him to notice. 3 months later, Daniel and I were settling into married life in Boston. I had just been promoted to senior project manager at a tech consulting firm, something I'd worked toward for nearly a decade. One evening, my phone rang. "Dad." I almost didn't answer. "Almost." "Emily," he said, sounding unusually careful. "How are you?" I smiled. "Busy, married life." Right. A pause. "Listen, I need to talk to you about something important." Funny how now things were important. The problem: Jason hadn't been recruited. Despite all the hype. Despite all the sacrifices. Despite my father missing milestones for him. The scouts had moved on. And worse, Jason had injured his knee. Badly. My father's voice cracked as he spoke. "The surgery isn't fully covered by insurance, and the house is already leveraged." I knew what was coming. "Emily," he said softly, "you're doing well. We were wondering if you could help us with a loan." There it was. The same man who couldn't spare one afternoon for my wedding was now asking me for $85,000. I stayed silent. He rushed to fill the gap. "It's just temporary. Family helps family." Family. I remembered walking down the aisle alone. "I'll think about it," I said. The conditions. I didn't talk to my mom. I didn't talk to Jason. I talked to a lawyer. Then I called my dad back. "I'll help," I said. His relief was instant. "Thank you, I knew you, understand." "But I have conditions." Silence. "I want the truth," I continued. "Why have I always come second?" He scoffed lightly. "Emily, that's not fair." "I want honesty," I said, my voice steady, "or I walk away." A long pause. Then, finally, he admitted it. "You reminded me too much of your mother," he said. "Strong, independent, you didn't need me. Jason did." That confession hurt more than all the excuses combined. But I didn't argue. Instead, I sent him a contract. The trap he signed. The money wasn't a gift. It was a secured loan, backed by partial ownership of the family home. My father hesitated. I reminded him gently. "You taught me to be responsible." He signed. 1 year later. Jason never returned to football. The medical bills piled up. My father's hours were cut. The house slipped further into debt. They missed payments. And legally, the house became mine. I didn't kick them out. I did something far more symbolic. I sold it, and used part of the profit to buy my own parents a small rental apartment. Modest, safe, affordable. No trophies on the walls. No shrine to the golden child. Just reality. The final confrontation. My father showed up at my office one afternoon. Older, smaller, broken. "I never thought you'd do this," he said. I looked at him calmly. "You never thought I mattered," I replied. He swallowed hard. "I missed your wedding." "Yes," I said, "you did." "I was wrong." I nodded. "You were." No yelling. No tears. Just truth. The ending, peace. I didn't destroy my father. I didn't humiliate him. I did something better. I stopped needing him. Now, on anniversaries, Daniel walks me down trails instead of aisles. I have a family that chooses me every day. And my father, he attends every important event now. But he sits in the audience, not at the center, because some lessons are learned too late, and some daughters grow strong enough to walk away. The end.